Oh, hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be trying all of my most expensive makeup. Oh my gosh. So I went through and I just looked through my collection and found each item, whether it's foundation, bronzer, primer, all that stuff, and I wanted to find my most expensive items. I also pulled out 5 of my most expensive brushes. They're kind of insane, and I just wanted to do my face with my most expensive makeup. In theory, if expensive were better, I would have the best face makeup possible, but we know that's not always true. So I'm gonna jump straight into a little bit of skin prep. So I am gonna use a face mask to prep my skin, and this is by 111 Skin. This is the Rose Gold Brightening Facial Treatment Mask. This is one sheet mask. Now, a set of 5 of these retails for $160. So, divide by 5, you have $32. So that's the dollar amount of the face mask I'm about to put on. Let's do it. Now, in theory, this should be an ultra amazing face mask. Also, I put on a really cute dress. I don't know why. I tried to be all fancy and wear a fancy dress, and the little eyes come out. Got a little cleavage line right there, why not? I feel like I'm holding an eel. Kind of feels like putting a jellyfish on your face, but in a really nice, invigorating sort of way. Okay, so I think I've got it pretty much comfortable. It keeps like sliding down on my lip. So it says that this hydrogel mask enhances absorption of moisture to create a protective barrier that keeps skin perfectly hydrated. The hydrogel mask, in combination with 24 karat gold and damask rose extracts, work in powerful synergy to brighten, firm, and optimize moisture levels. Okay, so that's what I'm hoping we're gonna do. I kind of just wish this like stuck to your face really well instead of like sliding around, but it's cool. Oh, there's my other eye. There we go. It says to leave on for 20 minutes, remove the mask, and let the skin absorb the remaining essence by gently patting the skin. Follow with your regular 111 skincare regime. Honestly, I cannot afford that, so we just gonna go in with some moisturizer afterwards. So I'm gonna let this sit. I'm gonna go wet my fancy beauty blender, and we'll be right back. All right, we've got just a couple more minutes left of this sitting, so I just wanted to say thank you for clicking on this video. If you're watching, I appreciate it so much. And before we dive into the rest of the products, if you do enjoy, please leave a thumbs up before you go. Make sure to subscribe as well, and you can hit the notification bell if you want to know of all my future uploads. I will have a giveaway in a matter of days when I hit 12,000, just to celebrate and because I love doing them. So be on the lookout for that, and without further ado, let's take this mask off and try out some really expensive products. Okay, so I think we're ready. Ooh. So there's our mask. I feel like such a waste. So there's not a huge amount of excess on my face. It just feels like a light layer of moisture. So we're just patting to help absorb. All right, so my face feels nice. It actually feels kind of like warm in a weird way, but it feels comfortable. It's not burning or anything. It just feels plump, you know? So I do like the mask. Would I pay $32 every time I wanted one of those masks? Probably not. I'm sure they have some great skincare, but man, it is up there. So let's dive into the makeup. I'm going to first prep my skin. So most of the time I do use 2 primers, so I am going to use 2 primers today. So first we're going to go in with the Kevyn Neo-Elixir Weightless Beauty Oil. This is what it looks like. There are some layers, but we're going to shake it up really well. And this is meant to give you like that nice hydrated canvas, plump skin, and Kevyn is quite pricey. This elixir goes for $52, but really it's just a beauty oil. So, you know, I think Instagrammers made that really popular, putting oils on your face before foundations, but it does serve a really good purpose. And I will be going in with a matte foundation. So I'm gonna pat. So I think my skin should be properly hydrated for my makeup. The next primer I'm going to go in with is the Tatcha Silk Canvas. You guys are probably very familiar with this. As far as a true primer goes, this is definitely the most expensive one I have. It is also $52. So I'm just taking a little bit, and I'm going to go in around my nose in areas where I have more visible pores. I'm not going to put this everywhere. I just want to focus on the areas where I need it. But I love that this is pore filling, but it doesn't make me feel dry. I do actually like this primer. I know it got really hyped up, so you see it a lot and you're like, oh, I don't know if it's worth it, but I do think it's really good, and it's made with really good ingredients too. So there you go, my skin is ready. So this foundation I actually have not used yet. This is the YSL All Hours. Oh, and it's got an SPF 20, so it's up to 24-hour flawless matte full coverage, and it's oil free. So here we have the foundation. I have the shade BR20. This is Cool Ivory, so fingers crossed that this works. And this foundation goes for $54, so definitely more on the pricey side, although for me like $40, $45 is usually like around the price I pay. This is about what I pay for my NARS Radiant Longwear, which I love that foundation. And we're also going to go in with the Beauty Blender for this. I don't know how this is going to work with the Beauty Blender. I have not worn this foundation before, but it is my favorite method of applying. So if I have issues, I'll grab a brush, but hopefully I can use this, maybe a little juice. And of course, a Beauty Blender is $20. I don't think that's all that expensive, but I know some people who buy like Real Techniques, when they say $20 for a Beauty Blender, that's too much. But honestly, these are amazing and they last a long time. So let's go in. I'm gonna start with just about a pump. I think the color is gonna be good. That's encouraging if it doesn't oxidize. At first the bounce looked a little uneven. That happens a lot though. As long as it fixes in the end, I'm good. I do have discoloration right here and a little bit of a breakout, so I'm trying to see how well it's going to cover that area. Still seeing some of that peek through. 2 pumps, start on here and then bounce elsewhere. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit there. Ooh. The foundation's slightly dark, but it's fine. I'm gonna bronze up my neck. I would say the undertone is more neutral looking, to be honest, but at least it's not super yellow. I will take it. Before I add any more foundation, I'm gonna take the excess and go down the neck a little bit. So far, it's not showing any extra texture or anything. It actually seems to be kind of camouflaging my pores, which, whew, that's what I'm looking for after that experience with the Juvia's Place foundation. I will link that video if you want to see it, but man, that was a debacle. So I actually really like this foundation so far. We'll see how it wears. I'm going to use the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. I use this one a lot and it retails for $30. I don't think $30 is insane. It is kind of expensive if you compare it to like drugstore prices, but for the quality, I think it's an okay price. Just high end, of course. And of course, I did pick this with the price in mind, looking through and basically trying to find what my most expensive items were. So I may not have paired these consistencies together otherwise, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. I've never had it be a big issue or anything. So let's just go in and blend it out. All right, we're in business. I think everything's looking pretty good. I'm just kind of like blending the two together in certain areas, but everything's going swimmingly so far. I feel like everything's laying pretty nicely. My pores aren't emphasized, none of that. So let's get right into some powder. I'm gonna use the Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder. This is what she looks like here. And I have used this. Love this powder. I think it's very nice. I do feel that with this one, it's not the most long wear of a powder, but it gives a beautiful finish. And this powder goes for $46. It definitely looks bougie with the little gold. So I am going to set my under eye with this. I'm setting the whole of the eye area just to get everything nice and creaseless. So I'm going to use a powder brush for the rest of my face. This is the Kevyn Loose Powder Brush. This retails for $78. Whew. I have to say, I did find this on a bargain. I paid $20 for it, but the retail price, $78. Huh? Neat. And the weird thing about it, I know people look for like soft bristles. This is more of a coarse bristle, so it doesn't feel like rough or scratchy, but it actually to me works better than a super soft brush. Like I can actually brush this without disturbing everything versus soft bristles. I feel like they just kind of want to drag, but with these you actually get a good application. My personal preference, I do kind of stamp to get some powder there and then I'll lightly dust. And since this is a matte foundation, I like to set a bit more lightly, and I don't want a super matte powder over a matte foundation because I'm already dry. So giving a little less powder than I might normally with a different foundation. And lastly, I just want to get my jawline because I am going to be doing bronzing there. So I don't want the bronzer to kind of stick and grab in any certain area, so I just want to make sure it's not too tacky. All right, I'm going to grab this number 14 Wayne Goss brush. This is the number 14 cheek, but it's got a nice little movement to it. So before I use it for anything else, I'm just going to kind of dust off any excess powder that I may have. And this number 14 retails for $33. Ooh, Wayne Goss brushes are incredibly nice, but they are pricey. So before we go into any other face color products, I want to quickly do my brows. So I have the Dior Sourcils Poudre, I think that's how you pronounce it. Oh, sorry, I don't speak French. And this is the powder eyebrow pencil in the shade dark brown. So I will say this is not my favorite type of brow pencil. I feel like these powdery ones can look great for filling in, but not really realistic for little hair strokes. So even though this one's really nice and bougie, it's actually not one of my favorites, but we're gonna give it a shot. I wanna use it and see how it goes. And this does retail for $29. And I'm gonna give it a quick little sharpen. And this does not come with a spoolie, so I'm just gonna use a random spoolie. I forgot how easily the product comes off this pencil. But again, if all you want to do is quickly fill in sparse areas of your brows, but you've got all your length and you don't have to create a bunch of hair strokes, this is great for filling in because like one swipe and the color is there. No joke. So you can see how quickly you can fill in a section. That's no problem. What you don't get is a lot of precision. So I'm trying to kind of shear that out a little bit, if you will. So to me that just looks a little messy. What I'm gonna do is just finish filling in the front here, and then I'm actually gonna clean up my brow afterwards. So let me just finish that. All right, brows are done. They're looking a little dark, a little large and in charge, but it's okay. So it actually did a pretty decent job. So with this one, again, if you just want to fill in, it is amazing for that. And creating hair strokes is a little tricky, but you can make it work. So as you can see, I'm pretty happy with my brows. They actually turned out pretty nice, all things considered. So it is time to jump into some face products. So the first thing we're gonna do is bronze now. So I'm gonna use the Marc Jacobs. This is the Omega Bronze Coconut Perfect Tan in 104 Tan-tastic. I have used this bronzer a lot, as you can see, but the great thing about it is it's so freaking big. You just keep using and using and you're good to go. So I'm gonna try with this Kevyn powder brush and see how it goes. I've not tried it to bronze with, but I do typically use powder brushes to bronze. Ooh, like I said, that coarse bristle, it picks up a lot of product, so I went a little overboard. Oh, works nice. Oh, and I didn't mention this bronzer goes for $49. While that's really pricey, it's not that much when you consider how huge it is, and the quality is amazing too. All right, I feel sufficiently bronzed. I wanted to keep it kind of light, and now we're gonna go into some contour. I'm gonna use the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. Now for contour, I just didn't really have anything that crazy expensive. This palette is $49, which for a palette is not that much, but when you consider that I've pretty much used this one shade, it's kind of expensive. I have used these occasionally. I tried to set with them. I've seen people do that and it looks beautiful, but I think I'm just a little fair for that. So I've mainly just used this, and as you can see, I hit pan. I'm gonna take the Wayne Goss number 13 face brush. So this is what it looks like. It's got a nice little dome, so I'm going to contour out at least my cheeks with this. I always felt like with the Kat Von D one, you could very easily get too much, so I'm just picking up a little amount. This brush actually works really well with this powder. And this brush goes for $53. My goodness. I'm just gonna lightly tap a little bit of this into the hairline where I want it to be the darkest. And I'm gonna go back in with the brush that I bronzed with and just kind of blend it. I like to really contour my forehead, but at the same time, it's easy to go really heavy and look like your forehead is the only thing that's really like bronzy. So now I'm gonna go into the jawline. Alright, it is blush time, and I noticed that most of my blushes were right around the same price, but the one that stood out to me was the Surrat blush. So it's basically this little guy, and it's just like a little pan in plastic. So it's very simple. This is the Artistique blush in Rougeur, something like that. These blushes go for $32. So while I had a lot of like Tarte blushes, MAC blushes, different ones that are right around that price point, this one kind of stood out because it's just this tiny little pan. So this color though looks crazy. I'm a little scared, but if I remember correctly, when I have used this, it's not as scary when you put it on, but I still need a little juice. I'm going to use again the number 14 cheek brush from Goss that I used to dust off my bake, and this one is again $33, but same brush. And I'm going to ever so slightly, oh, look at that product, man. I'm too fair for this. It deposited like a lot of color in one spot. Ooh. Guys, I panic when it comes to blush. Like, I'm not a big blush person, so the moment that I get like color on the cheeks, I'm like, ah! I don't know what's wrong with me. Now, I will say that went on really patchy. Like, it just settled in that one spot. It's not blending well, so I'm trying to really fan that out. I can't really add any more color because I'm afraid that it's gonna go like super crazy. So I'm gonna do one little 1-2. Okay, so there we go. Really dusting that off. It's just like that pigment is crazy pigment. It's kind of emphasizing my little breakout there. I've got some texture with that breakout where it's kind of standing out. I didn't add any bronzer to this brush, but I did kind of take it to help smooth that area. Okay, definitely not feeling that blush. I think I might actually donate this because I've only used it probably twice and it's just a little much for me, but it turned out okay. I just had to really kind of finesse that. It is pigmented, I will say that. If you like a really pigmented blush, she's pigmented. All right, next I'm gonna go for some highlight. This is the Charlotte Tilbury and Norman Parkinson Dreamy Glow Highlighter. Now this is kind of old, this limited edition packaging I've had for a couple of years. It still performs just the same, but they do have other highlighters that are beautiful. I think too, their more recent highlighters are a little bit more glowy, blinding type of highlight. This one starts out very soft, but you can build it up. And when this came out, it was $65. So that's some of his photography right there. That's what it looks like. And I've used a good bit of this, but like you hardly put it in it. I'm gonna use it with the number 15 fan brush from Goss. And this one goes for $25. I know what this one performs like, so I'm really loading up this brush because I know it takes a good bit to really show up. I'm just gonna go in pretty heavy, to be honest. So as you can see, it's still pretty subtle. After I set my face, I'll put a tiny bit more on top while it's still just a little tiny bit damp, and it will show up a little bit more. So I'm gonna pause with the highlight before I load up a pound of it on my face. So we've got like a really subtle kind of dreamy glow to the skin, which is what it's called. Using that same shade of Shade and Light. All right, we have made it all the way to eyes. So it's time to dive in. I'm gonna use the Natasha Denona Lila palette. If you guys aren't familiar, which I'm sure you are, they retail for $129. I am really excited that her new palette is, I think, $65. It's around half the price. And I think that's really fair because they're amazing quality. And with those, you get basically half the pan size. And honestly, when am I going to go through these pan sizes? So I'm all about a smaller one. That's fine for me. I do have one brush that I want to mention that I'm going to use on my eyes. I've never used this brush. I kind of forgot that I had it, I'm gonna be honest. This is the Ray Morris number 11 Jishaku Medium Oval Shadow. This is what it looks like. This brush retails for $60. So obviously I'm sure it's a quality product, but I haven't used it yet, so we're gonna put it to the test. This one's a little different. It's an oval shadow brush. It's got a little stiffness to it, but it's still got some blendability. So I think what I'm gonna do is first lay down some pigment and then blend afterwards. So I have used this palette for a look that when I went to my friend's wedding, and it is truly gorgeous, so you really can't go wrong with this one. I'm gonna pick up the shade Per Se, which is right here, and I'm gonna start just packing on some shadow. I'm gonna deepen the crease with the shade Amara, which is the third color there. Alright, I'm going to go in with the shade Livid right down here. This is definitely more of a purple. So I'm going to try it with my finger first and see what happens. So I've wet my brush. This is the best use of this brush so far, is really packing on this color. I cleaned it off and I'm spritzing again. So now I'm going to pick up the shade Helio down here. Alright, so I'm going to match up the other eye and then we will come right back. Alright, I've got my little purple smoky moment going on. So I'm going to quickly do my lower lash line. I'm going to mix a little bit of this shade and this one right here. So that's Nude Vino and Per Se. I'm just going to take a little bit of both. I'm going to go in with a little Marc Jacobs highliner. This is the shade Blaquer and this goes for $25. That's what it looks like. So first I'm going to do a little tight lining just to make that lash line appear a little bit fuller. Alright, I smudged a little bit along the outer third of my lash line on top, and then I did my waterline as well, just to give a little bit of like thickness and smokiness and darkness to the eyes. For mascara, I'm going to use the Dior Show Pump and Volume. So this one to me was not a personal favorite, but it does go for $29. Ooh, she's pricey. So with this one, you can like pump to add mascara to it, but it's not my personal favorite to do that because it's kind of a thicker formula. So I'm just gonna pull it out and go straight in. And I actually just cleaned off the wand with a makeup wipe, and I'm gonna go back in and kind of separate more. Alright, so this definitely gave me some volume. I would like it to be a little bit more lengthening too. It just doesn't really do anything for length. Not that it is supposed to, but that would be my preference. My lashes, especially on this side, are looking like a little stubby. They don't look long at all. Alright, we are down to the two last things. So before I go in with lips, I'm going to set my face, and this is the Caudalie Beauty Elixir. This spray retails for $49, and it's supposed to not only set your makeup, hydrate, it's supposed to minimize pores, do a lot of things for you. The scent is a lot of people's favorite, but unfortunately not mine. It's just very like earthy, and it's not my favorite scent. I can totally deal with it though, and when you do have like sinus issues, it like opens up your sinuses. So we're gonna spray this, and before that completely dries down, I'm gonna take a bit more highlight. Alright, so let's dive into the last thing, which is my lips. I'm going to go in with this Bobbi Brown Luxe Lip Color. I have the shade Soft Berry, and this lipstick retails for $38. $38, she is pricey. So before I apply it, I'm going to put on the Grande Cosmetics Stay Put Lip Liner. This is only $15, so I'm not really saying it's one of the expensive items, but this lipstick is really creamy. It's a Luxe Creamy Hydrating Formula, so I just want to put this on as a little bit of a barrier. It's clear. I also just really love this because I hate trying to fuss to try to find the perfect lip liner color to go with the perfect lip, and this one just can go with anything, and it gives like a subtle little plump to just the outer edge of your lips too, which is really, really nice. So let's go in with Soft Berry. Alright, so there's my entire face using my most expensive makeup. So if I didn't tell you guys before, the retail value of everything that I mentioned today is $1,029. I feel like that is insane. A lot of these things came into my collection through subscription boxes, lucky bags, gratis. So please don't think I'm just going out and spending this much money on makeup for a video. I can't do that. But maybe one day I can go and buy exactly what you guys want to see in a video. I would love to be able to do that. But for now, I hope you guys thought this was fun. It definitely was exciting for me. I like the foundation a lot too, but it is kind of gathering in my smile line and around my nose too, so kind of standard for a matte foundation. So I personally probably wouldn't go out and pick this up again when I have matte foundations for much cheaper in my collection that do the same thing. And as for most of these products, that can probably be said. There's dupes out there, there's plenty of things that you guys can find. So if you're interested in me finding dupes for all of this in my collection and going with cheaper versions, let me know if that sounds like a fun idea or not. I just thought of that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave me a big thumbs up if you did, and of course don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Honestly, it means the world to me when you guys support, and hopefully you'll just help me get my videos to other people so that I can grow my channel a little bit. That's the goal. So that's what's up. Thank you guys so much for watching again. If you know someone who would enjoy watching this video, make sure to share it and help me spread the fun with everybody. So thank you again so much for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Really quickly, I forgot one thing. Dad jokes. Did you hear about the guy who had his left side cut off? He's all right now. I've heard that one before, but it's kind of funny. All right, guys. Bye.